Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. My name is Dean Referrals. Today we're going to be talking about this whole idea of what you can do to be able, right, to put yourself in a position to explode your awareness. That's right. Be found by people who are looking for you. And how can you do that? We're going to help you build a framework today. As soon as I turn my phone off here, we're going to be helping you build a framework today to be able to do that. How about that? That's something you can use today. How in the world can you be found by your ideal customer and client? And that comes down to awareness. You know, and awareness is a big component of all the things that you have to put into your business whether you're an author or a coach, or whether you have a brick and mortar business where you sell e-commerce online, whether you're in network marketing. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If people can't find you, people can't find your store, if they can't find your product, if they can't find who you are, then they can't do business with you. They can't engage you. And so awareness is a really big deal. But oftentimes it's one of the biggest things that people miss, And so on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being nobody knows who I am, nobody knows where my store is, nobody knows what products I sell, nobody knows why I do what I do, and 5 being I'm a celebrity in my field. Where are you at? Why don't you put that in the chat box right now? Tell me on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you think you're at? It's okay. It's okay. You can be honest here. You can be open here. I don't think your customers are going to see this. Just you're going to see this. And on a scale of 1 to 5, do people know who you are? Do people know where you are? Do people understand what your product is, what you do? How aware are people of that? See, I run into it all the time. Where people, hey, Deb, thanks for putting that in there. Thanks, Tracy, for putting that in there. I run into people all the time, and even in my own business, where I'll hear them, they'll talk about something, and I'm going, well, I do that. And I'll ask them, well, why did you hire them to do that? Or why did you put them in place to do that? I do that. And they'll go, well, I had no idea you did that. And it hits me. Oh, man. Not keeping awareness out there. So I went on a hunt. How do you build better awareness? And I found out part of the problem is, I'm going to show my screen here. Part of the problem is right here is what and who we do. We have that really kind of boxed in, right, in our mind and in our head, right? But then oftentimes we only have one how. We only have one how of how we do it. Maybe we just do Facebook Live. Maybe we do business cards. Maybe we do network meetings. You know, maybe we advertise on Facebook or YouTube or on the TV or any number of other ways. And that's our one way we do it. In other words, we got one chance at it. Now, it doesn't mean that it's not prolific everywhere. It just means we kind of have one way we go about doing things. But as you think about what and who, that is, it could be a what you're trying to deliver to people, or if you're a coach or speaker or author or something like that, it could be who you are trying to put out there. Think about the different ways of how you need to go about promoting yourself. In other words, if we think about the topics, right? The topics of what you're about. So let's just say you're an author. So some of that could be on publishing. That might be one area that you would be in one of your boxes right there, right? Maybe it's on subject matter, what you would write about, research for that. Maybe one of the boxes should be other authors, right, that are connected into your field. Say maybe you're writing a book on personality types, and you want to find out, well, who else writes about personality types, and where are they found, and what are they doing, right? And then maybe one of those boxes is going to be marketing. How am I going to put this out there to the public? You know, and then maybe one of those other areas is a blog. How do I begin to expose people to my content? So you'd have 6 of those boxes filled in, and that's kind of how you deliver what you deliver, ways you deliver that. in the different areas of that. And the reason I talk about diversifying yourself is because the whys, the little circles out there, they're all about people who are, quote, experts, or people who you know, or people who are out in the world in that area, that would be somebody that could help you in the process, right? Could help you in the process. So let's say you're into coaching, right? Or let's say you're into speaking, because I have several people in that area. One of those people would be John Maxwell, right? And he would be one of my whys. In other words, John could help talk about for me why speaking is important. Why it's big. Maybe it's Pete Vargas. Pete could talk about why stages. And see, I could either interview him, or I could take an article that they've written, or talk that they gave, and put myself around it using a format just like this, and let them speak for me and create a bigger awareness of, oh yeah, this is important, or oh yeah, this person's talked to an expert, or they read after an expert, or they know what this expert knows, and here's proof of that. See what I'm talking about? And so as you go around here, suddenly you have 18 different areas and people who are talking about what you're doing. But then if you take those three circles that we have there, and then you create three different pieces of content, okay, 3 pieces of content for each one of those people. Maybe it's a video, if you could get an interview with that person, so you could reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'd like to interview you, and it's only going to be about a couple of minutes. I want to talk about one subject, and you tell them what that subject is. Why speaking's important. Boom. Or why leadership's important. Boom. Or why writing a book's important. Boom. Or why this product at a brick and mortar store, why it's important. Why is it important to have insurance? Why is it important to own real estate? Why is it important to whatever? And you talk to an expert and you interview them about that one thing. You get one answer from them about that. It's about a minute, 2 minutes long. Now, the interview may be longer, but you're going to narrow it down to 1 minute. And then maybe you find an article or a blog post that person has written, right? And so you bring that up in a format like this right here, and you talk about what they wrote. So now you've got another piece of content, right? Now another piece of content. Or maybe you go find a video they did where they're talking about a subject, right? Where they're talking about a subject. So say you're in the survival niche, right? And you go on YouTube and you type in and you find some really good YouTube videos about people giving survival tips, right? Or maybe you're into safety, home security, and you could talk about here's 5 things you need to do in the security market. Keep your home secure. Here, or you could do product reviews. Here's that doorbell called Ring and why it's important. Let me tell you a little bit about that. And suddenly you've got these pieces of content, and now you've gone from 18 people in your circle, right? 18 people in your circle to over, to something like 72 pieces of content. 72 pieces of content. That's 1 piece of content a week that you could be putting out on a blog, on a video channel, on a live show like this. It could be something that you're sending in a newsletter to, or a white paper or research that you're sending to your list. Here's what so-and-so had to say about, and you're not talking about your product in the sense of trying to sell it. You're just giving people a framework, an awareness that you, the person in the middle, or your product, the what in the middle, is an expert in these kinds of things. So if you take this concept that we're talking about here and you use that idea, you can suddenly start being seen everywhere by and with other people and on other subject matters pertaining to what it is you're selling or who you are and what you're selling. You suddenly are able to push that out to a larger group of people. So you move away from being a one-dimensional person, right? So give me some ideas. Throw it in the chat box here. What is it you do? What niche are you in? And let's see if we can't build real quick for somebody in the group. See if we can't build for somebody in the group. There are 6 hows, and then talk about maybe who are some of the people that could talk about your why you do what you do, why it's important, why your product's important, what you've got to say is important. Somebody throw that in the chat while I get a drink. Coffee. All right. I'm going to put it back out there. Anybody brave enough to put that out there? Explode your awareness and be found by your ideal customer or client. Your ideal customer or client. Was this idea helpful? All right. See this outer layer that you see here, this outer layer that you see here of whys has all to do about why you're important, or why other people think what you're talking about is important, right? Why other people think that's important. And it's these stories, because people love stories, and you've got stories in different topic areas, because that's what the how's all about. The how's all about the different topic stories, right? And that I think that becomes super important for us when we look at that, right? When we look at that concept, it becomes super important. So nobody's okay. I'm executive director for Keep Greenville Beautiful. All right. I need to reach people on the beautification of our city and recycling trash to encourage business and visitors to do that. Okay. Great, Tracy. Thanks for sharing that. So let's talk about first. We just laid out the what. What is this about? I want to keep Greenville beautiful, right? I want to keep Greenville beautiful. That's what that's about. So we got that. So what are some avenues that we can talk about why? So what are some topics? What are some topics that have to do with this whole concept of keeping Greenville beautiful? Well, one of those things, of course, one topic could be the aesthetics of things. You know, why it's important to live in a clean community, right? A community. What would be some areas that we could talk about? Who would be some people we'd want to talk to about that? Well, one of those things about why it's important to keep a city clean might be somebody from the health department, right? From the health department, and maybe you don't know them now, but maybe you need to get introduced to them. Talk about the health department. In other words, how important it is for a city to have, be clean and be free of debris and trash and those kinds of things, so that we are free from diseases. Maybe recycling is important, so maybe we need to go find some people in the area of talking about. So one of our boxes would be recycling. Why recycling? Why recycling? Who are some people that could talk about recycling? And so maybe we go find some companies that recycling is their major thing that they do. In other words, they're able to take recycling elements and turn those into reusable products, right? And we do an interview with them. Hey, I'd like to interview Mr. or Mrs. whatever. And I've got one question to you. Why is it that your business does recycling, and why does it make a difference in the world in which we live? Blah 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 blah. Right? Maybe another how would be tourism. Okay, why clean cities important to tourism? And so we go to the board of, the Visitors Bureau, or to the board of tourism, and we find somebody to talk to, or maybe we go find an article, or we go buy a video about why people visit cities that are clean, right? Cities that aren't surrounded by debris and trash and that kind of thing, right? And then maybe we go talk to an HOA, a homeowners association that really reinforces beauty inside of their HOA. In other words, everybody's got flowers in their yard, and everybody's yard is well kept, and everybody participates in recycling, and they separate out their trash, and you interview some of those people, and you find an article in magazine on that. You do a show where you talk about it, or you write a blog about the importance of that. And so far, How would you look at that? What would be some areas that you would put in those how boxes, that you would like to say, how do I go find those people? All right. Anybody got some ideas? I don't know what the lag is, right? Let's see here. Okay, social networking. Okay, social networking. All right. So, if you want to use Facebook, or you want to use YouTube, or you want to use Twitter, or you want to use all of the Instagram, all of those things, you could run a contest. You could run a contest for people who have, beautiful yards. Okay, you could talk about uh, cleanup projects. You could interview people in other cities who have gone and done clean up a neighborhood project. Find them. Okay, go to a site like I just posted there, askthepublic.com, and look at all the questions that have to do with your components. So, in other words, who are these people, and where are these people, and when are these people? Kind of ideas. Home and garden shows would be another thing where you could go and talk about that, and you could interview people at the home and garden show and record it. And whether it's recorded in audio or recorded in video, you don't have to do a live there. You could, but you could do that kind of component. You could talk to business owners and get business owners behind it, right? You could talk to get time on the local radio, or talk to most cities have some kind of garden club, right? Garden club. So if you take your whys, you take your hows, what are your feels? So you could have public events, or public networks like chambers of commerces. You could have public events like home and garden shows where you could interview people. You could talk to HOA people. You could talk to local garden clubs and talk about how important it is to beautify the city using the aesthetics of good looking yards. You could talk to people in the health department to talk about the dangers of trash, and you could talk to recycling people and talk about hey Melanie, you could talk about recycling concepts. In other words, create for yourself. Suddenly you will have almost 72 pieces of content by doing this. So you figure out, okay, what is it or who is it that we're trying to frame here and make aware of. In this case, we're talking about making a city of knowledgeable about the importance of beautification and recycling. So our hows might be social media, it might be local TV and radio, it might be local events like home and garden shows, it might be social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, and so forth. It might be the factors of health and recycling, and those could be a box. And then we go find people who will talk about those subjects, and we interview them either on the phone or on video like this, or we send a questionnaire to them and we get it answered, and we find pieces of content that they've written maybe in a blog, and we bring it on the show and we talk about it, or we write about it. And so we begin to build out this plethora of things that suddenly make us very exposed to our environment, to people finding us, because not only have we just put ourselves out there as an expert on this, because suddenly we have 72 pieces of content on it from different people talking about it, and we're the connection hub. If you notice, this kind of thing is built in the hub concept. We now also have opened up channels to other people who can bring us people to talk about those subjects, right? So we've created it in a lot of different ways. Now, my question is, in a scale of 1 to 5, if we were able to do that, if we were at a 1 before, or maybe a 2 before, or a 3 before, do you suppose that we could get to a 5 by doing that, by creating an awareness hub that would expand us? It would explode what we're doing in a lot of different areas. So let me know that on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is, yeah, it might help us. 5, I think it would really help us do that exact thing, right? Do that exact thing. And I'll let you do that while I get a drink. So if you were to go out and maybe you interviewed the mayor and you interviewed the city, yeah, okay. Some people said 5, some people said 3. Maybe I didn't talk about theirs yet, but thanks, Tracy. I appreciate that. Hopefully you were able, and you can put a yes in the box if this was able to help you expand about how you create better awareness. I decide what my what is or my who is that I have to make more aware to people. I find 6 categories or 6 topics about that category. I mean, about that why or what. I create 6 categories of that where I can talk about it. Then I go find 3 people that I can talk to that are experts on that subject, so to speak, are authorities on that subject, are people who talk about that subject or write about that subject. And then I create a connection to them somehow or another, whether I do it personally or whether I do it by taking their content and that kind of thing and putting it out there and having a discussion about it. I give you one example of Melanie and I both belong to the John Maxwell team. And every day, John Maxwell, one of the mentors of John Maxwell team, of course, he puts out a 1-minute video every day, a 1-minute video on a word. You can take that idea, right? You can take that 1-minute idea and talk about it for 5 minutes. You can interview that process. Well, let me talk to you today about the word that John talked about. John talked about attitude. And attitude is altitude in what you do. And you could tie yourself to that. That's all you would have to do. You could blog about it. You could podcast about it. You could talk to other people about it. You could reference it. And so suddenly you've got 72 pieces of content by repurposing other people's stuff that talk about what you want to talk about that other people aren't going to go. You see, only people who are interested in health concept of beautifying a city, they're going to know about the health thing, but they're not going to think about the other 5 things that you could be talking about. And people that are into recycling, they're only thinking about recycling. They're not thinking about gardening, and they're not thinking about social media, and they're not thinking about talking to city officials. They're thinking about recycling. So immediately you broaden the horizon. And it is a continuous evolving process. Yes, because as you meet new people, you'll find people who will help you champion your what or your who. You'll find people that will help you do that. Last year, I gave an example. Melanie was on the show earlier, may still be on here. She decided she was going to do 50 broadcasts in 50 days. And that led her to 50 leaders that she wanted to be tied to. And so she's created this whole thing about 50 leaders and the subject that matters and those kinds of things. So it becomes very, very important in a way to do that. All right. Anybody else got another question or another idea they want to throw out there? Okay. I see, Deb, you put up business networking. Was that an answer to a how, or was that a what or a who? Because I don't know. Yeah. Darren Hardy. It's huge. That's cool. I listen to Darren too. I have a whole channel built on Darren stuff. I got his books and that kind of thing. So, Deb, were you talking about business networking as a who? I mean, as a what, or was that a how? because it kind of came in. I know Facebook's delayed all the time. You may not even be on there now. It was a who. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So let's conquer that right quick. All right. Let's conquer business networking as a who or a what that we're going to do. So what are 6 categories or 6 subjects, right? Areas that we could define around business networking. Okay. So one of those might be networking groups like BNIs and NIAs and chambers of commerce. That might be one of those areas, and we could interview 3 people. We can interview the chamber person. We can interview somebody in a BNI. We can interview somebody in a meetup, and we could talk to them about networking, right? And then we could go over here, and one of the other areas we might want to talk about put in there is social media. We might put social media in there, and we could talk about having your own city network where it's all done online with somebody like smartguy.com and be able to create a network that way of business owners. We could talk about referral networking, and we could talk to people who build their business around referral networking. Like you could interview a realtor that's really into referral networking. You could talk about referral networking. You could go look on you could type in referral in answerthepublic.com and talk about referral marketing. So you could take 6 things and put them around this who or what concept, and then go talk to people about that and expand the idea of business networking. You could take businesses that work best in business networking, because some businesses it's not ideal for. Other businesses, it is totally built around the concept of networking, right? So you could divide that up and talk to different business owners who rely on or depend on business networking to make their business work, right? Hopefully that helps. And there's numerous people out there about business networking. You could go to Amazon and type in business networking and see who talks about business networking. Referrals also kind of get rid of or do away with I didn't know you did that thing. It's one way to negate that, as Marty wrote in the comments, because people can refer you. But again, your referrals have to be aware of what you do, because normally people know you for the thing you did for them, right? People know you for the thing you did for them. So if you're in the let's just say you're in the trades business and you do remodeling, and the thing you did for Mrs. Smith was you remodeled her kitchen. Well, that's how she knows you. And unless there's a more expansion of it using a model something like this, she's going to think the only thing you do is remodel kitchens. And she's talking to a neighbor who says, I need a really good painter. And Mary says, well, I really don't know any painters. Not realizing that you do painting too, because you're a remodeler, right? You're a remodeler. Or, I need a new driveway. I don't know anybody in the concrete business. Not realizing you do concrete driveways too, because you're in remodeling. Why? Because Mary only knows you because you do cabinets. You remodel the kitchen. See, and so you have to create bigger awareness. So if I was a contractor, I might have subject matters that are built around. We do kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling. We do painting. We do siding. We do concrete and patios. And I would go out and I would interview people and find sources of people who talk about that in the market. And I would build around that so that when people came and looked at me, they saw I did all these things, not just one thing, right? Not just one thing. All right. Does that help? Hopefully 1 to 5, 5 being, yeah, that helps. 1, that stinks. Get off the air, turn off the show kind of thing. Right. So how do you explode your awareness and be found by your ideal customer or client? Okay. And that is, we use this concept of this hub, this awareness hub to grow that. right, to grow that. Okay, Deb, I'm glad that was helpful to you. I appreciate that. Well, hey, everybody, I hope you have a great rest of the day and appreciate you joining me here on this Lunch and Learn today. You can also find this over on my Dean Renfro Business speaker page. You can also find this in one of my groups, and you can also, of course, find me on LinkedIn and YouTube as well. Come back and be with us again tomorrow in another Lunch and Learn, where we expand out more about how you can double your business, right? How you can double grow your business. One of the first things you have to do is create awareness. Well, there's 7 other things you can do, or you'll have to be aware of to be able to double the size of what you're doing in your business. Why would you want to do that? Well, one, it creates more profit for your business. You know, a profitable business owner is a happy business owner, right? A profitable business owner is less stressed, right? A profitable business has more happier employees. A profitable business has more lifelong customers, and all those things play into what we're talking about doing. So glad to have you with us today. Appreciate you being on the show with us. Share the show with somebody else today. Do that for us, and we'll talk to you again next time.